So, hey guys, I'm going to teach you guys how to play DD today. We're going to start off with the basics here. So, every pendulum card has a scale. For Orthros, that is 3. For Ragnarok, who we have scaled to the right, that is 5. And you can only pendulum summon monsters with the levels, or in this case, level between the two scales. So you do need 2 scales to pendulum summon. So in this case, that is 4. And you can also pendulum summon monsters from your extra deck if they're face up on your extra deck like this. As you can see, Kepler's face up over there. So we have Griffin here. So with Griffin, Griffin is the level 4. Kepler is a level 1, meaning we could not, with our current scales, we cannot pendulum summon Kepler. But we can pendulum summon Orthros here from our hand as well. If you pendulum summon a monster from your extra deck, they must either go to extra monster zone or to a zone on like monster points too. If you press this, it helps a little bit with the clarification of some stuff. Like it shows the link arrows right here. So anyways, if you were to have a monster in the middle zone, for example, you wouldn't be able to summon 2 monsters from your extra deck. And we also can't use this extra monster zone because we're using this one right now as well. And unless you U-Link, you can only use 1 extra monster zone, so keep that in mind as well. So just to show this off, if you have a continuous spell or trap or whatever, just a set card in your spell trap zone, this fucks you a bit and you can't actually, you won't be able to, actually scale your pendulum monsters or get your scales. So for Gilgamesh right here, you can see it's no longer legal to activate this, so it doesn't even give me a prompt asking if I want to attempt it. I just simply can't. And also, even if I did have the scales, I would have Copernicus here, kind of in the way, so it doesn't matter right now, but because I have only 1 monster I can pendulum summon, so it'd be fine in this case. But anyways, there's also another thing I want to show off a little bit. I'll just alright. So pendulum monsters, if they are on the field, they basically just go to the extra deck face up. There are some exceptions to this, like if Macrocosmos is active, or if Necro Valley is active. In that case, they are also semi-affected. But I'll just showcase this right now. So if we link off a pendulum from the field, or if we were to use them as fusion, for example, like we'll use Copernicus here as one of our material, and then we'll use Necro Slime. And then as you can see, Copernicus goes to the extra deck face up. So if there was a pen card here, it's not the end of the world. You can just link it off, and then you'll have Gilgamesh with 2 open zones like this. So that's also a little something to keep in mind and not stress too much over, but if you can avoid it, try not to place anything in this middle zone. And that's generally just a helpful thing for when you're playing any deck that uses does an impactful pendulum summon. Especially if you're pendulum summoning from the extra deck, you'll want that middle zone free. and they'll open up your options a lot. So pens typically do from hand if when you send or discard, destroy anything in hand, pen cards will still go to the graveyard, but if they're on field, like if they're scaled or in a monster zone, they will go to the extra deck face up like this. But the exception to this is when Macrocosmos would be active, they would just get straight banished. And they might potentially be affected by Necro Valley as well. So that's also something to keep in mind along with everything else. I can't really show this off right here, but if you penned summon and Maxi is active, it doesn't matter how many cards you pen summon. You could pen summon and put monsters in all 6 zones, but as far as Maxi is concerned, that will be 1 summon. But for Solemn Judgment, that will also be counted as 1 summon, so if you pen for 6, for example, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, then when Solemn is activated, it would send every single monster you summoned into the graveyard specifically, and they would not go to your extra deck because their summon is negated. They go ahead and get sent to the graveyard. I don't know exactly why, but that's just how it works. So for your lines of play, you just have to keep some things in mind. DD is kind of daunting, but I'll show you guys the ropes a bit. So with a hand like this, we have Griffin, Kepler, Typhon, Ghostbell, Headhunt. So we'll just normal summon Kepler, and then we will activate Kepler effect to add a contract. So here we can add, well, either probably Dark Contract with the Swamp King or Dark Contract with the Gate. Here we'll go for Gate. But basically what you want to be doing is basically you want to go Kepler, Griffin, or basically any DD you can normal summon is generally fine. It kind of depends on the exact situation, but if you have a pen DD, like for example we have Kepler, or if we had Copernicus, or Cerberus, Orthros, whatever, it's fine. We can just special summon Griffin. Doesn't matter where we place it right now. We could even place it here. And then we make Gilgamesh. And then we will use Gilgamesh's effect. We will burn for 1,000 here. In this case, I could have searched for Orthros with their contract with the Gate first, and on the Gilgamesh's burn, we can special summon Orthros from our hand. And that opens up a different line of play, but we're going to scale for this because we have a Kepler. We're going to scale Rage here, and then we're going to also scale Cerberus. So then we can pendulum summon here. We will pen summon Griffin and Kepler. So here we'll use Griffin effect because we don't want Typhon in hand that much anyways. So with Griffin's effect, if you had an opportunity to add like or if you just open Necro Slime, Typhon, Lamia in this build, we just mostly use the graveyard effect, so we'll just discard Typhon here. And then we'll also get the free draw here. and they'll give us this Swirl Slime. So we'll use Cerberus effect, and then we'll have Kepler change to level 4, and then we go Caesar, and then we'll go summon on top of Caesar Tell, and then we will use Tell's effect to burn for... It doesn't matter what you detach there, by the way. So we just select any monster. Doesn't really matter here. So that'll burn our opponent for 1,000 for free. And then you will link off the Tell and the Gilgamesh. The reason you mostly want to do that, where you link off partially, even when you sometimes have the option to do something else, like for example you have Baron de Fleur or Orthros to like pop the Tell, is you actually want to send this Gilgamesh to the graveyard because you want more material for fusion summoning in your graveyard. So right now we'd have Typhon. So since we sent the Gilgamesh, we can also just use the Gilgamesh as a material to summon our Flame High King Genghis. And this also sends Tell, so most of the time you send a Necro Slime or a Typhon with this effect. You might send Lamia sometimes, doesn't matter, but either way, now that we have Necro Slime and Typhon, we can special summon both of our Genghis, so this is the basic line of play from here, and this is where you start your combo. And how you play out this line is kind of up to you, and it depends on your hand a bit. So worth mentioning is that if you bring back Marksman King Tell again, none of the effects here are hard once per turn at all. So if we summoned him back, we can send Lamia the next time we send Tell to the graveyard. And if you bring back Caesar, you can search Dark Contract. But this is hard once per turn on both effects. So this deck looks pretty intimidating, but it's actually not too bad. Some people meme about it and say like you need a spreadsheet, a flowchart, or whatever, but it's not that bad. So we have Flame High King Genghis and Flame King Genghis effect. We haven't used those yet. Those are both hard once per turn, but we can special summon basically 2 monsters from our graveyard here. They're specifically DD, but in our list we only play DD, so it's like 2 monster reborns, kind of. So we can bring back 2 monsters in this case. We can choose I guess we can just go with Caesar and Griffin, and that would be fine. And I think that might be the best option, honestly. So we just use Typhon effect. We'll special summon Big Genghis using Typhon and Gilgamesh here. And then now we have to trigger the Flame High King Genghis's effect, which we will do by special summoning our little Genghis here. You can also summon on top of this Gilgamesh via Smack Connects, and that would trigger this effect, or a normal summon. We have normal summon though, so we can't do that. So we'll just summon small Genghis here. We'll use Kepler. And then right here, we will summon back Caesar, like so. And then that triggers small Genghis. And then we'll bring back Griffin. I believe we haven't used Griffin effect yet. Griffin allows us to search here. And we'll just add Lamia is fine. So in this situation, we'll just swirl effect. And then we will go ahead and make a Oracle King here. And now that we have Lamia in the graveyard and the Oracle King, we will use Lamia effect. We will send Caesar. Special summon Lamia. Activate Caesar effect. Add Dark Contract with the Swamp King. And then we will summon Siegfried here. And now we will activate the effect of Dark Contract with the Swamp King. We'll use Griffin. To special summon the small Genghis, we will use Griffin and Tell. We actually have nothing really that I want to send with Tell, so I'll banish Tell here. And then we'll summon... oh, wrong monster. We'll summon Wave High King Caesar. And then we'll just search something for the next turn, I guess. We'll just search copy of Griffin, and that should be fine. So now we have a small choice. There are merits to both, of course, but between Genghis and Gilgamesh, we can special summon Deus on top of one of these two. In this case, I want to keep Genghis on the field, so we'll just special summon Deus on top of the Gilgamesh and not the Genghis, and this is what our board looks like. You just kind of have to understand the interactions a little bit, but anyway. Now we have Wave Hiking Caesar, which is basically... it's kind of a pseudo Solemn Judgment. It's not as good as Solemn Judgment, but it's not once per chain, and it's a quick effect. So if any effect tries to special summon a monster, like for example, Griffin's special summon is actually an effect. So the only thing this doesn't stop is inherent summons. So if you were to special summon Gilgamesh, we can't use Wave Hiking Caesar to stop that summon. We can't negate that. But if, for example, Flame Hiking Genghis effect triggers, we can trigger Caesar on that. And then that would pop the Genghis and negate the search as well. And we have Deus whenever our opponent activates a monster card, not monster effect, monster card. So that would include pens like Cerberus, Divine, Zero, King Rage. Like if they scale a card. So not an effect like Gilgamesh's, because Gilgamesh bypasses that a bit, but that's really annoying because your pen cards actually count as continuous spells as well anyways. So if you were to use, for example, Cerberus's Pen effect, chain 1, chain to Dias. Then Cerberus's effect would kind of be negated, the Pend effect. And even if you just activate, you know, you just put your scale in this zone face up. Dias effect counts that as a monster card being activating. Well, it counts it as an activated effect kind of for this. So then Dias can just suck that card. And Dias has quite a few activations. It's only for monsters on the field, so for example, it doesn't really work too well against the virtual world monsters by itself. Well, it does matter a bit, but it doesn't affect them too much, and they can play around it. And this can also be chain blocked, but it's still a pretty strong effect. So you can pop a Dark Contract or Detach 2 to activate this effect, and every single time you activate it, you attach another material onto Dias. So right now it's at 1, so if we pop this Dark Contract and our opponent had a monster for us to attach, then we'd have 2 materials. We do that again, and then we use this. So we can do this about like 4 or 5 times, attaching our opponent's monster or a pen card, depending on what they're playing, I suppose. Then we can attach their pen card, so we can do that 5 times, and then we can negate 2 special summons. And also with Goose King Siegfried, we can negate a spell trap card effect on the field. And then on top of that, we just have a Headhunt here. Headhunt allows us to take control of our opponent's monster and negate its effect, so this can be pretty annoying as well. Not necessarily that useful against, for example, Virtual World, but it's an effect you have to keep in mind. So I'm going to show you guys a little trick here. So we have Rage scaled here, and Rage's effect. If you normal summon 1 level 5 or higher DD monster, you can do it without attributing, so we are actually able to normal summon Oblivion King Abyss Ragnarok here. So, for example, if this happened, where we have both Flame High King Genghis and DS Mechanics were sent to the graveyard, for example, they got Lava Golemed or something, then here we could normal summon Ragnarok effect. You can special summon a DDD, a triple D monster in your graveyard. So basically an extra deck monster, Flame High King Genghis, normal summon or special summon that, and now we can well, we will use Oblivion King effect here. Beating Gilgamesh to banish this face down. Doesn't matter. So then we'll use we'll special summon on top of Abyss Ragnarok DS Mechanics. And that triggers Flame High King Genghis' effect. And now we can bring back a monster from our graveyard again. So this allows for some recovery. And DD is really good at recovering like that. They have a bunch of interactions like this. So you should just keep some of these in mind. So one of the best 3-card combos for DD is or DDD, is this one. You need 3 cards. So it doesn't really matter what the third DD is, but you need Swirl Slime and Griffin specifically in your hand, and you have to have not used your normal summon yet. So we go Swirl Slime effect, and then we'll use Swirl Slime, Griffin, and then we special summon Flame King Genghis. So this won't work if Orthros is the DD monster you're special summoning off of Swirl Slime effect here, because it'll lock you into Fiends. So we'll special summon Copernicus here, and then depends what you want to chain block here. Doesn't really matter. You can chain block this. So when Griffin gets special summoned from the graveyard here, it'll trigger its effect. It'll allow us to search a DD card. And the DD card we will choose is DD Orthros. And we have 3 monsters on field, and we have not normal summoned yet. So we'll normal summon right now, DD Orthros. DD Orthros, if it is special summoned, you cannot special summon monsters for the rest of this turn except for Fiend type monsters. But if you normal summon, that effect doesn't happen. So then we will make Baron to floor. And then we'll just place Baron here. And then we will make Gilgamesh using our other 2 DDs. And the thing about this is, it looks very similar to, like, for example, the 1 card board at this point in time, but you have an Omni Negate on your 5th summon, which is the Baron de Floor. So we'll scale Orthros and Ragnarok. And then you'll notice that, like, this DD, it doesn't matter what it is. We'll always have 2 4s because with that combo, we'll always have Griffin and Orthros in our extra deck. So when we pen summon, we can always get pretty good scales as well. Because typically your the best higher scale is actually just, well, Ragnarok. You usually want to scale Ragnarok whenever you can, because it's really good for your combos and your recovery, your follow-up plays. Generally all around good. So we'll just special summon both Griffin and Orthros here. And in this case we have Necro Slime. So we will also get our search, but we don't activate Ragnarok effect till later in the combo. So we'll get our draw, it's Headhunt. This hand's really good here. So we can go pretty hard with this hand, and we can just combo off from this point. We have Caesar, Tell, and then we can do the same combo line as before. And like I mentioned before, you can, like, for example, use Orthros effect to pop this card, or you can use Baron effect to pop this card. But you actually don't want to do that because you don't have that much fusion material. And there's some monsters you really don't want to use or you really don't want to fuse away. Like, for example, Small Genghis here, if we fuse him away, we can't make Flame King, no, wrong one. We can't make Wave High King Caesar anymore, so we don't want to do that. And we can't really make Siegfried unless we search out Lamia. or some other tuner like that. So right here we want to link away these two for Gilgamesh, and then we'll just go along with that combo line however we do it. We have basically two Monster Reborn still actually, because we used small Genghis, and you just have to keep track of this. I think this is one of the most important things to keep track of. Which Monster Reborn effects have you used this turn? So we have two still. So as long as you keep track of this stuff, you're doing pretty well. So it might be worth mentioning, we have Infinite Impermanence and Headhunt here. So in this case, like, let's say for example we actually didn't have both Typhon and Necro Slime, and we do need to search our copy of Swamp King, then in that case we can pop Orthros as the spell or trap card on the field and destroy another DD or Dark Contract, so we have room to set Impermanence. So we would do that after we special summon our Genghis, whichever one. So we have Tell effect here. We will send Lamia. And then we will make Big Genghis here, because Small Genghis already used his effect. So we have Genghis, and then we'll use Ragnarok effect here. We'll summon Caesar. Make sure not to negate your Ragnarok with Gilgamesh. So now we activate Genghis effect, and then we will special summon in this case we've already activated Griffin effect as well. So let's special summon, we'll special summon King Genghis. And then we will Lamia effect, sending Caesar. Well, because we have Lamia, we can't really do that, but we can still Baron pop the Orthros instead, because we already have a way to send our monster, and we did need a body for Lamia anyway, so kind of awkward. But anyways, so for example we have Swamp King here, the contract with the Swamp King here, and then we don't have room for Imperm. In this case, since we have Baron, we can just pop Orthros, set the Imperm. We can't Pendulum Summon next turn, but we have more interruption for next turn, which is something you can think about. So I finished the combo, and this is about what our end board looks like. We have one Omni Gate, one Spell Trap Negate, and then two Monster Special Summon Negates here, and then we have DDD Headhunt, which is basically, you can think of it as like a Monster Negate, and it specifically also allows us to take control of our opponent's monster. The only thing we're lacking here at this point in time is basically like a patent license. Our list can't really make a board much stronger than this, and we also have the Imperm, which is a second monster negate. So we have an Omni Gate, a Spell Trap negate, and we also have Recovery with Ragnarok, which is really strong. And we don't have any use for this Dark Contract with the Swamp King, since I used all our fusion monsters here. but we can search some follow-up with Dark Contract with the gate. And this is the kind of end board you should aim for. So if you can summon Wave Hiking Caesar, Wave Hiking Caesar is typically better to summon than a Siegfried, so you should focus on that first. Baron is kind of just something you can make at the start of the combo if you can. Great. If you can't, that's also still fine. And Gilgamesh here. Gilgamesh, well, Gilgamesh is, if he gets destroyed, you can, for example here, we can't really summon much, actually. But, we could summon, well, I banished Griffin, but if Griffin was still here, you could search a DD monster, I guess. So, Ragnarok, except for during the damage step, you can target one DD monster in your graveyard and special summon it if a DD monster is special summoned, so Gilgamesh will trigger that effect. So assuming we activate some of these effects and then our opponent destroys Gilgamesh, we can recover some of our monsters a bit. We can bring back Siegfried and our Gilgameshes. We can make another DS next turn. And we can really get our opponent on the clap back, I guess you would call it. And if we still have a contract left, our DS effect will be live on our own turn as well. So there are basically two one-card combos in DD. Our hand is really good here, but yeah. We're just going to pretend we didn't see nothing. So normally I would probably search Swirl Slime here, but we'll just show off the one card combo. So if you have Dark Contract with the gate in hand, you would add Copernicus, normal summon Copernicus, and then we would send either Lamia or Swirl Slime. Swirl Slime if you had like another DD in hand, and that would be fine, but if you actually don't have any cards, then you would send Lamia. No DD monsters, you would send Lamia, and then send the contract. And then we would make Gilgamesh here. And the scales we want for this are Griffin and Thomas. So we have Griffin and Thomas, and then we would pendulum summon Copernicus here. So Copernicus from our extra deck, and then we would use Griffin effect. Doesn't matter what you target here. 7 Thomas effect, add Griffin back to hand. And then we can Griffin effect here, just like that. And then we have our Wave King Caesar here. So the board obviously won't be that strong, but you can end on, I believe, maybe a Wave Hiking Caesar and DS Mach X with 1 contract, which isn't the best thing in the world, but it's definitely not a complete trash board considering it's only 1 card, and I'm assuming if you didn't have any other DD cards in your hand, then they would all be hand traps or something like impermanence. So it's actually a pretty intimidating board in a different kind of way. So let's pretend I actually have Kepler in hand instead of 1-for-1. So let's say I normal summoned Kepler here. We'll use Kepler effect to add a Dark Contract to our hand. And we'll add Dark Contract with the K. And then we'll activate our contract with the gate. And then we will add Griffin to our hand. And then we will Griffin effect. And then we will special summon Gilgamesh. Gilgamesh effect. Scale 2 from deck. So we'll choose specifically Rage and Cerberus here. And then we will pen summon both Griffin and Kepler. And then we will use Cerberus's effect, and then we will make Kepler level 4. And then we have Wave King Caesar, and then we can special summon Marksman King Tell. And then from here you have your full combo. So let's say, for example, you wanted to scale Ragnarok, but Ragnarok is in your hand. How would you go about doing that? It's pretty easy. We'll just use 2 low scales, so we'll scale. In this case, we'll scale, because I want Orthros as my low scale, I will scale Orthros alongside Griffin. So what we can actually do here is we can activate Griffin's effect, and then I'll give one of our DD monsters attack and pop itself, which allows us to scale Ragnarok, keeping in mind that Gilgamesh does require you to place 2 pendulum monsters with different names from your deck in your pendulum zones. So now we also have 2 Griffins technically as well, and we can just pen summon both of those out. So if you have, for example, a Rage in hand, this would also work. And then boom, boom, boom. You can go on with your play. But this, if you want to use Griffin to pop itself, you would specifically need a Dark Contract, and that also would apply to Orthros as well, if you tried to use Orthros to pop itself. So you would need a card that pops itself in a different way. This Griffin requires you to have a contract either in on your field or in graveyard. And then for Orthros, if you wanted to use Orthros to pop itself with a contract for some reason, then you would need a contract on field. But then you'd be able to put whatever scale you wanted from a hand. Like, for example, if you wanted to use Kepler or something, it doesn't really matter. You would just pop it. Well, in this case, Griffin would pop itself, and then it would send itself to the extra deck, and that opens up this line of play. So basically with DDs, what you want to be doing is you just want to go into Abyss King Gilgamesh and into your Wave King Caesar, and that's typically how you will do your combo. So even with a scuffed hand like this, you can still play it out. So we're going to go ahead and make Flame Hiking like so. And then we will use Griffin effect, special summoning Griffin. Then we'll just activate High King effect. We'll special summon. Doesn't really matter which, I guess. Swirl Slime is fine. And then we'll link them off for Gilgamesh, sure. And then we will choose scales. We'll go for Orthros and Cerberus. And then we will pen summon the Griffin. And then we can Griffin effect here to add back the Vice King Requiem if we want here. Or we can just leave it, I guess, if we want the draw or not. We'll just do the draw though. We'll take the draw here. Rage. Okay. We will add Swirl back, I guess. That's fine. And then here we can actually normal summon Swirl Slime. Or in this case we can just use High King Genghis and change High King Genghis to level 4 and make Wave King Caesar, and we can just do our combo off of that. But this is the way we're going to do it since we still have our normal summon. And then just like that, we can do our combo now. So basically if you can get Gilgamesh and then 2 4s, you should be able to combo with this build. So this is what our hand was. We had Griffin, Vice King Requiem, Swirl Slime, Hand License. If you just look at this with a closed mind, I guess you would call it, then this hand would look like a complete brick, but it's still playable. So even if you get hit by interruption, as long as you can get 2 4s on the field in some way, shape, or form, you should be able to get started on your plays. And also with Gilgamesh, if Gilgamesh gets negated, you're kind of a bit fucked. It's a bit rough. You just need a really good hand to play through that. But not much you can do about that. So this is the build I've been running. There are some things you can tweak, some things you can change here and there, but it gets the job done. And DD might be intimidating at first, but once you familiarize yourself with the cards a bit, it's honestly not too bad, and it probably won't take you guys too long to get good at this deck, but you know, good is just 1-0 away from God, so see ya.